All right, that was plenty of time for people to read the disclaimer with the typo. I'll fix that one day.
Now you
What's
won't.
going on, people?
Not much, man.
Welcome, boys and girls, geeks of all ages. We are Grown A Geeks. This is Weigh In Wednesdays. I am your host, Sam. Joining me tonight, we got one of our favorites, Jeff. Jeff, you've been getting a whole lot of Marvel stuff lately, man. I'm just, I'm not complaining. It's coming from a good place, so we're going to let it be. But we just throw that out there.
I'm sporting Superman tonight. Don't worry. Don't worry.
All right. All good. Also,
I might be getting a lot of Marvel stuff, but
okay. Long as it's all good. I'm okay with it. I like the source. Let me start there.
There you
also
go.
Joining us, South Down Leather Works, maker of all great leather merchandise. Dave, what's going on, man?
What's up?
And it just wouldn't be a fun show if we had a one himself, Mr. Heroic Hat Man.
What's up? I'm here, man. I'm good. What's up?
Chilling, man. So we've had some eventful stuff. We've had some stuff going on. Heroic Hat, you're gonna take us through the video game awards and some nominations and such.
Oh man!
If you will just suffer through that for me, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
You've got you brought up the new Deadpool trailer.
yes.
Now, is that an official trailer? I just have to ask. I myself have not seen it yet.
I don't know. It was on Rumbles.com. It came up in my feed. I watched it after 47 ads. I have not been able to find it since. Gotcha. But it had Wolverine in the yellow and black suit. So I don't know if it's official or not, but
it sounds like it could be. Like if it's, you almost have to kind of make sure that it comes from Ryan Reynolds or, from Marvel. And if it is, then, that's we can trust that. But otherwise.
I did see the new Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special trailer from Kevin Bacon, which looks amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that actually looks like that's going to be. It's kind of funny, of course, with the whole James Gunn, not really jumping ship. I don't think that's accurate, but now that he's over with DC as the head of DC Studios. I got some playback here. Okay, there we go. With him over here, and Peter Safran, I think it is, they're actually co-leading DC Studios, and they're going to do some things and move forward with DC. That should be interesting. So I want to see how Guardians plays out, see the last little hurrah there. But I am curious what's going to happen moving forward with James Gunn and DC. I got some high expectations for that. But we're going to run a short show tonight, folks. We're not going to keep you here all night. I got stuff to do. People is going places, and I got to take them places and handle stuff and get some stuff taken care of. But I will be back next week with a nice long show because I'll be on vacation. I may do a couple of solo shows in between that. Have some specials. David, when is DreamHack or
in a couple days, starting Friday.
Couple days. Okay. Packages have not arrived, so I may just have to merch you up myself. And we'll see what we can make happen.
All right.
But let's jump right into the video game stuff. Let's talk about these video game awards.
can we talk about something that's good first? Like I don't want to, like I know I brought it up, but I don't want to talk about. But no, let's do this. So
I mean, it's like a bandit. Let's just rip that off and get it over with. And then we'll
well,
get
just
into all the good stuff later.
let me just go. Let me just start with Sonic Frontiers is good. It is the trashiest Sonic game I've ever played in my life, but it is probably one of the more fun Sonic games I've played in my entire life. that's all I'm gonna say about that. Like it's a bad game, but it's bad in a good way. Like there's a lot of potential that they can like take from that game and carry it to other games, but it's a mess. It's a mess, but it works, and that's all I can really ask at this point.
Okay.
Okay, let's rip this. Okay, all right.
And well, let's start with the video game awards for this year,
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
Right now, we're just looking at the nominees, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And the actual award show
That's
is
gonna be
slated
early December.
early December. Okay.
I want to say it's like the second week of December. I want to say, but
So like December, let's see, December 8th.
okay, never mind. It was
No, I'm looking at it here. I
There it is.
literally just pulled it up. So
There it is.
December 8th.
Okay. But man, these nominations are they sure are. They sure are. Can we let's just hop into it, man, and let's just go into it, and I want you to tell me if you notice a pattern, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, let's just start at the top. Game of the year. So, for the nominees for Game of the Year are A Plague Tale: Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War: Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, I already have a problem with these nominations.
That's a pretty okay. Stray, God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yep.
Horizon Forbidden West.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is an actual sequel from
Yes.
the original, so not
Yes.
like a DLC pack,
Yes.
but that's a full on.
That's not the pattern. That's not the pattern. We haven't gotten to the pattern yet. We haven't gotten it. That's not the pattern. But you did point out something. Yeah, all of these are sequels, but that's whatever.
Well, I mean, Stray being an original game, so
Yeah,
that's
aside from Stray. So I already have a problem with this list. One, why Plague Tale, which is it's like if it's anything like Innocence, the first game, I'm pretty sure it's a good game. I'm pretty sure it's a solid game. Why the fuck is it here? Why?
I mean, what is the
fuck is it?
If they don't have a proper criteria to say, like, oh well, it's here because Stray seems like that's the one where you play as a cat.
You play as a cat for a little bit, as I have learned not too long ago.
Okay, so there's more to it than just
play as a cat the whole game, apparently.
Well, can I tell you honestly, that is I don't know how I feel about that now.
Right. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 being here, it's the obligatory Nintendo representation. It has to be there, whatever.
Gotcha.
God of War Ragnarok came out 45 minutes ago. Why the fuck is it here?
Because it's God of War Ragnarok, and as a default, God of War was nominated. Like God of War, or God of War 4 technically, was nominated automatically last year just as a result of it being God of War.
Right. But the problem with God of War 2018 and the Game Awards then is that it had a little bit of time to cook in the public's hands. God of War Ragnarok, as of the point of it being on this list of nominations, has not been out for a week.
It was on the nomination because it was releasing.
But if this is a award show for gamers by gamers that are voted on by gamers, who the fuck has played this game yet?
Nobody. But that's the thing. Like somebody, it's one of those things where somebody probably wrote it in, and
No,
because
yeah,
it's God of War,
it's money.
you have
It's
the
money.
automatic people who are just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go with that because it's God of War. I know I
Right.
like God of War. I don't need to play it. It's gonna be good.
Right.
And you know,
So that I mean, it's just there. Elden Ring's going to be here because Elden Ring was like it's Elden Ring. It was going to be there regardless. I
Elden
can't.
Ring did numbers though. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it
in
did numbers. It
fairness,
did numbers. So you can't deny it being there. So this is likely going to win Game of the Year if it's not God of War Ragnarok. But it is what it is. Now let's go to the next category. Best game direction. Oh, would you look at that? Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon, Forbidden West, Stray, Immortality. Do you see the pattern yet? Let's go to the next one. Best narrative. Oh, look, A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. Do you see the pattern yet? Hold on, let's go to the next category. Best art direction. Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Scorn, Stray. Do you see the pattern? Do you see what's happening
I
here?
do see something that is going on.
God of
Now,
War was nominated for 10 different awards, and the game has not even been out for a week. Like best art direction, uh, best score and music. We don't know. We don't know anything about this game. I mean, critics do, but the public, we do not know because some of us haven't even played the game. I'm still downloading the game right now.
You know, I mean,
I mean, yeah, Linda has rightfully pointed out to me. I did choose to play Sonic first, but that's whatever. The point, the point is that a lot of people haven't had their hands on this game for long enough time for anybody to confidently vote on
as
this
a game of the year.
as a game of the year. And then best score and music, best art direction. Some people haven't even seen half of this game yet. How are you going to decide?
And if nothing else, if you're going game of the year, like it seems in fairness for an accurate judgment, you need to have played through a
The
good bit
game,
of all of them. And if
yeah,
you wouldn't have been able to get far enough in, I mean, if all you do is like review games, then maybe, but you would have to have gone through each of these games a substantial amount in order to be able to, you know, have a fair and unbiased opinion. If
right.
the only thing you played was God of War since it's came out, you know, since it's come out, and that's all you've played, then sure, that's going to be your vote. But when you get to like of the year, best this, best that, you
Right.
kind of gotta make some adjustments there.
So like, and this is not saying anything against God of War's like quality or any of the other games on these lists. It's not saying
Right.
anything against them. Like, no, I'm fair. I am 100% certain that God of War Ragnarok is a fucking killer app, right? However, I don't. I'm gonna. I don't know. I don't know yet.
Like maybe it
So,
is, maybe it isn't.
Maybe
Who
it
knows?
is. I'm fairly certain that I'm going to have a good time regardless about this game. But it just kind of brings, like, I was having a conversation with a group. Shit, was it yesterday? The other day? Yeah, it was yesterday. We were talking about it. It's like, okay, so what is the criteria for game of the year? What is the criteria for any of these games? Any of these categories? Like, is it because like we want to push these titles first and foremost, or is it that the gamers actually voted on this, which we know they didn't, but it is what it is. What is the criteria here? Because if we're going off of like games that are like, if we're going off like longevity or like franchise, why the fuck is Sonic Frontiers not on any of these lists?
Good point. Sonic been around for a minute.
I'm saying as a concept, like I don't know what the criteria is for the categories they're promoting here, except for like best esports player or team or event, like, because we know what that we know what that is, like who was the best, most influential player of the year or whatever, right? Which was the best esports game or whatever. That we know the criteria for those, but it's something like best art direction as opposed, like, what do you mean by that, right? And
I
that
mean, some of these
further
categories have kind of been throwing me off. I don't even understand what that category
And,
stands
like,
for.
and even with the, like, let's take for instance here, best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Okay, in what regard? Because again, we have God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, all vastly different games. So what is the criteria? What are we judging these games on? Because, like, there is, like, you have this Norse beating music in Ragnarok, but then you have, like, footsteps in Call of Duty. Like, what are we judging?
Well, I mean, it could be like the conversations that happen,
Well,
like
no.
not the music.
But they have a best performance. If we're gonna base it on the conversation, best story. But, like, I can kind of see what you're saying as far as, like, best audio, because it's literally there's are two different categories. Best score and music is one category,
Right.
and then best audio is another category.
Yeah.
So as far
like,
as the audio, like, are they talking about, oh, I could hear raindrops in the background?
Yeah, so, like, is the audio, like, is it the audio mixing's good? Like, when there's footsteps, the footsteps actually sound like footsteps. Like, does the sword sound crunchy? Like, what is what
Can't
are
stand
we
those crunchy
looking-
swords.
What are we
Hear
looking
the car
for?
shifting gears.
Yeah. What are we looking for here? What do we want to hear to make an informed decision about this category, right? And then you go on to best performance. Now, this one's straightforward. Who gave the best performance out of all of these people?
Right.
Ashley Birch, Charlotte McBurney, Christopher Judge, Manon Gage, Sonny Soljic. I'm probably butchering his name, but still, that we know what that is. Like, who acted their ass off, right? That's simple. That's
Very
a simple category. Games for impact. What does that mean? and another thing here, like, this is where all the indie games go to die. This is where they go, because this, if you look at the category now, it is exclusively indie games.
Mm.
So is that saying that, like, AAA games don't have a deep message? Is it saying that only indie games can be that deep? Like, what are we talking about here, right? What's going on? what is happening? And then the next one, and then we have, like, the outliers here. So next one is best ongoing games, which are the same games as, like, I think it's the same games from last year. Apex
I mean, it would have
Legends.
to be if they're the best ongoing.
Yeah, so you got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. These are the same games. They got they already had their time. It's time. There are more ongoing games.
Now, the one thing I do find to be interesting in that is Final Fantasy the only one that's technically a pay-to-play game.
Well, that's what I'm getting. That's what I was about to get at too. So, like, just like Linda was saying in the background, there's there is a case to be made for best ongoing game, because they are the most popular ongoing games, and they also keep producing a swath of content. Like, I can speak, like, I could speak for Final Fantasy 14 and a little bit of Fortnite. I know, like, just off of secondhand knowledge, that Apex is still doing its thing and adding characters. I could give two shits about Destiny 2 right now.
Yeah, they lost me. They lost me a while back.
Yeah, and then Genshin Impact is
after the third DLC.
Yeah, the vaulting of the content in the game is just kind of it throws me off a little bit. And then Genshin Impact is adding more shit and more characters, more waifus that you can buy. Yeah, so yeah, there is a case to be made here. So that one's not super convoluted, but it still can be a little jarring to see the same exact games going for the same award again and again every year, but that's just ongoing, right? And then best indie. This is not where indie games go to die. This is where they actually get their recognition here. So yeah, Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, Tunic, all of them really good games in their own right? Then you got best mobile game, which yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think that there needs to be a very clear definition when you get to some of these, like and I think best mobile game is a good example, or best virtual reality game is a good example.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a defined criteria.
Yeah, which best mobile game, it says it right there, for the best game playable on a mobile device. Boom, done. That's all we need. That's it. It needs to be clear and concise because a lot of people don't like to pay attention to the categories. Now, I also have something that's just a personal pet peeve of mine. Well, not even a pet peeve. It's more just like an ongoing itch on my ass. let's call it what it is. Best fighting game. Now,
triggered.
I got, oh man, Jesus. Okay, so let's just start from the top. DNF Duel, great game. I love this game. The developers quit that game so fucking fast. It has no support. We got a patch that was a paragraph long. They sent that game out to die, and it pisses me off to this day. So that's not winning best fighting game because it doesn't have any fucking support. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, All-Star Battle R. Why can't I talk today? So, a couple of things with this game. One, this might win because this is JoJo. This is JoJo's.
Right.
JoJo. It's a JoJo reference, whatever. This might actually win. But I got a couple problems with this. One, this was originally a PS3 game. Two,
okay,
it is unplayable online. It does not have rollback. You are fighting the game more than you are fighting your opponent. You cannot play this game online reliably. 3, it performs worse than when it was on the PS3.
Ooh.
Why is this here?
It's glaucoma medicine.
King of Fighters 14, right?
Now, I feel like King of Fighters automatically gives JoJo a run for the money just because it's King of Fighters.
Yes. Now,
and when you talk about like, could that also qualify for best continuous game?
No, because this game came out this year. This game came out this year.
Okay, but we on number 14. That they're not counting sequels?
15.
Oh, 15. They're not counting sequels?
No.
Okay.
No, sequels are completely different games.
Gotcha.
Different mechanics, all that good stuff.
The ongoing is just games with
games that
support,
games
DLC
that launch and continue to exist in that specific game. That's why Overwatch isn't in that category, because it's Overwatch 2 now. That's a completely different game. I would argue otherwise, but still. But King of Fighters has its own slew of issues. One, it does have rollback, but the matchmaking is fucked. It does not work. Yeah, so the game itself works fine. It's a functional game. You can play it online if you can matchmake to somebody. There it is. Multiverses. I actually don't have a problem with this being here. Multiverses is a good game. It does a lot as far as like a free-to-play model that fighting games could really learn from. And honestly, if it's not JoJo that wins it, it's going to be Multiverses.
Gotcha.
That's what I feel. Now, here's the itch on my ass. Why the fuck is Sifu here?
That is such a weird game.
It's not a fighting game.
I literally thought that was like a story-based first-person, well, not first-person, but a story-based, like single-player campaign kind of game.
It is. It's not a fighting game. You can fight in the game. That's as much fighting game as it's going to be.
That would be like putting Double Dragon in best fighting game category because you do karate throughout.
This would be if you put Double Dragon in the best FPS category. They're not the same. They're not the same.
It don't go there.
It don't go there. This is an action game. Put it with the action games.
One
Put
of
it
these
with,
things
put
is
it with
not
God
like
of
the
War
others.
Ragnarok, where it can sit there and die because God of War Ragnarok is on the list.
Yeah.
What? So this already, like, the list here is just kind of like four no's and a multiverses. Why did y'all do this?
I mean,
it's also partly because like fighting games don't like there haven't been a lot this year as it is every year.
Would it be the limitation?
It would be the limitation, yes. But you also have like caveats here, like you could have put Capcom Fighting Collection on there. You could have done the beta for Street Fighter 6 because that's still a thing that people can access right now. So there's a couple of ways that you could have gone about it. For like actually released games. Well, actually, no, I do have a problem with Multiverses here. I just remembered Multiverses hasn't even fully officially launched. It's still in beta.
It's playable beta, but
it's a playable beta, but that game is still in beta. The game has not launched yet. So what? Why is it here?
Because you know what? That's 4 no's and a possible.
That's 4 no's and a possible. Because if we're looking at it like that, if Multiverse is in here, then Street Fighter 6 should be here because that's a beta.
That's what I was just fixing to say.
They see you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
that's a little.
What are we doing here?
If Multiverses is still only beta, then why isn't Street Fighter on there? And why is there a game that's not even a fighting game on there?
Who knows? Who knows? I don't make these decisions. I just bitch about it. Now you got stuff like
that. Street Fighter 6 is that closed beta or is that open beta?
Closed beta.
Okay, so you had to have like a
you had to get the invitation for it, but still the point still stands. Like if that's the criteria, if we can get a beta game on here, then it should be open for the vastly superior beta game, which was Street Fighter 6, because that shit in beta feels finished. It feels finished.
And maybe that's why it's not on there, is because it's a closed beta, whereas Multiverses is an open beta.
Fair, and that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that. But it still just kind of brings up the question, like, really, what is the criteria for these games? Are we playing by Matrix rules, or are we playing by Dune rules where there's no rules?
Right.
Like, what's going on? So, but then you got like other ones that like are appropriate. Best Family, yeah, all these choices are good. These are good. Kirby and Forgotten Land, yeah. Mario and Rabbids, yeah, for sure. Lego Star Wars, of course. Nintendo Switch Sports, you damn right. Splatoon 3, absolutely. All these are family games, yeah, absolutely. All of these should be here. Same thing with Best Sim and Strategy. Dune, Spice Wars, Mario Rabbids, Total War, Warhammer 3, 2 Point Campus, Victoria 3. Yeah.
Now with Best Sim Strategy, I feel like if we are including God of War as a potential
best Sim Strategy,
that's gross. They shouldn't mix those two.
They shouldn't mix those two.
Because at this point, maybe at one point that would have been valid because there weren't a lot of sim games, there weren't a lot of strategy games. But now there's a lot of both.
I'm assuming you can hear Linda.
I can hear Linda. Hopefully the viewers can hear Linda, because
to lump both in the same category.
Yeah. So for everybody else that's listening who couldn't quite hear her because she's kind of on the other side of the room, Linda's saying that it's kind of bad that they're lumping the two genres together, because now there's not really an excuse to have this category. Okay, we can hear Linda. Perfect. A bit off topic. I wish Street Fighter would invest more in building the IP outside of the games. If we can get another Mortal Kombat film, we can get another.
You got Chun-Li. You got the Chun-Li movie. What more do you want? Let me stop before he hop over here just to cuss me out for that.
And I feel you. I feel that point there.
So
But that-
here's a question, and
but
this is
here's-
actually for
hold on,
Linda.
hold
Go
on
ahead.
1 second. I want to address that comment real quick. So like you're right that like Street Fighter should invest more in building the IP outside of the games. Now here's where it kind of breaks down. Here's how it kind of breaks down. The difference between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter is that Mortal Kombat is owned by NetherRealm Games, which is owned by WB. And they will put Mortal Kombat whatever
Pour it out.
fuck they want.
Pour it out.
If it's going to make them money. Capcom is kind of more traditional, and while they do invest in the IP outside of the games, it's not something like a story thing, unless it's like a crossover thing, like Akuma being in a Street Fighter in Tekken 7, which apparently is canon somehow. Sure.
Okay.
But outside the building of the IP outside of the Street Fighter games is to stick Street Fighter in other games. That's why you got Ryu holding the fucking Glock in Fortnite, and just various card games and shit. Yeah, so it's not a matter of them not wanting to like branch out as far as the IP goes, because they do. They just do it in a different way. It might not be like super widespread. It might be only in like the circles that kind of just do the video games, but they do it. It is there. I do agree with you that it should be a little bit more widespread, because I want more people to play fighting games. So it is whatever. But that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Sorry, what were you going to say, Sam? You were about to ask.
No. As we were talking about best sim and strategy game, I wanted to point out that given that we already have God of War Ragnarok, which, as you mentioned, only came out 15 minutes ago, if that's already in a category to be game of the year, how is like Sims, the new Sims, not on here?
Well, the issue with the new Sims is that it actually has not come out yet. Like, it's only in development. Yeah. Like, yeah, Linda's saying we're still at least another year out for that. Yeah. Or even farther. So yeah,
Sims 4, that was the announcement and everything.
Yes.
Everything that comes out for Sims is just additional DLC and such. Okay.
So if you want to make a case for Sims 4, then that would probably be in best ongoing game. Yeah.
Why isn't that there?
Because
the last DLC that came out is for Sims 3, right?
Sims 4.
Sims 4. So the last deal, that's what, Sims at Work or something?
Linda, what was the last expansion for Sims 4, if you remember? I mean, I can look it up. I just want to know if you knew off the top of your head. She's gonna get the answer for that. But yeah,
Looking for like main expansion or stuff pack or
use your best discretion.
The newest thing that could fit into the category.
Yeah. Let's just assume significant expansion.
Fun fact: Sims 3 chronologically happens before Sims 1. If you guys want a fun fact there.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, because there's an actual lore and stories in Sims games.
Yeah. So apparently, chronologically, Sims 3 comes before Sims 1. That's
and
weird.
Sims 2 is like 50 years after Sims 1.
That's weird.
I would say it's a whole thing.
That's weird.
Their timeline.
Yeah.
They have a Barry Allen in their timeline.
Sims 4 high school years.
Sims 4 high school years was the most recent.
expansion.
Gotcha.
That was from
Okay.
the summer. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, best sports and racing. It's whatever. It's whatever. You got F1, FIFA, NBA, Gran Turismo, and Ollie World. Good stuff. But yeah, nah.
See, and why are they putting sports and racing? I mean, I get racing is a sport.
Well, there's not a lot of
Like-
racing games out there. I mean, like if you really want to push it, you could put Gran Turismo, and then like
Nominate
that, but then you have to do something like fucking Race with Ryan or some shit. Yeah, so
Okay, I get that.
I agree with this lumping in, because like, there's just not enough sports games, not enough racing games. Because you got the two here, which is F1 and Gran Turismo. Those are the two.
They need to stop being
And what is this Oli Oli world?
Ollie World is skateboarding.
Oh,
Get some
bet
kart
it ain't
races.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater though.
Nah.
I bet it ain't that. But no, okay, so that's actually pretty interesting because just looking at the sports category, you have 2 racing games,
Yep.
2 sports games,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 random sports title. So that's
okay. That's fine. That's okay. Whatever.
yeah.
Best multiplayer, it's, Call of Duty, Multiverses, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, which unfortunately I know is not going to fucking win.
Yeah.
Because Call of Duty is there and Overwatch is there, so it's not going to win. As much as
Ollie
Overwatch
World seems to be a little kitty, but
it can be. It's very pixel like, but it's still it's actually like if it's anything like the other Ollie games, it's pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. But then like for the multiplayer games, like as much as Overwatch 2 is fucking fumbling the bag right now,
man,
it still has a good shot of winning this category because it's Overwatch. But it's more than likely going to be Call of Duty because it's Call of Duty.
See, and that's the thing. I feel like Overwatch probably gives Call of Duty the best run for the money.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say Modern Warfare 2, this go round, the multiplayer, they have a slight advantage with the multiplayer this go round because they have the co-op missions as like solely multiplayer options. Now you can do split screen, couch co-op to go online and play the multiplayer,
Mm-hmm.
and you may even end up on opposite teams, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they do have an online co-op option where you and whoever you get matchmaked with, you have to go through and you do these co-op missions, similar to anytime you've done the missions when you play through the game and it's just you and Captain Price out in the field doing whatever, like the big sniper missions and all that type of stuff. It's something like that. It's you, your teammate, you get to choose your loadout and whatnot, and you go and you do these specific missions. They have these objectives. And that's a new dynamic for the multiplayer aspect because it's a decidedly co-op, not competitive. So adding that into the multiplayer part of it, much like when you get on, you play Destiny and you have like a fire team and you have an objective to complete your dailies and that sort of thing, as opposed to everything being PvP.
Right.
Well,
And
Wildlands did that.
Yeah, the bounties, I think it was. Was it what was it? The bounties?
No, there was regular missions too. Because I played the heck out of that game when it first came out, and I remember it was me, Singe,
right?
I want to say Jim got on there, and I forget who the fourth was, but we went out to do an actual mission.
You know what? Okay, Wildlands. I had to think about that for a minute. Yes, because you could go and get all the little resources and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have one person like ready for this guy, one person ready for that guy, one person ready for that guy. It actually played a lot like a SOCOM or old Rainbow Six, where you could all take out 4 or 5 people at one time, drop them all so that the alarm doesn't get raised. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I think this is another category, and these you have to kind of explain to me.
Okay.
So, best adaptation.
Man. So this is actually one of the better categories because all of these except for one are bangers. All of these are bangers. Like Arcane, League of Legends, fucking banger.
Yes.
It is like the best thing about League of Legends except for League of Legends because League of Legends is League of Legends.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Cyberpunk
awesome.
Edge Runners
fucking
made
Studio Trigger. They did that.
So
they did that.
It's not very often where an anime adaptation of a video game that got a lot of heat in the beginning makes you go back and play that fucking video game. It doesn't. That rarely happens. That rarely happens. And Cyberpunk Ed Runners, beautiful.
And to
Stuck
even
the
incorporate,
stuck the landing.
Even to incorporate
which is great.
The Edge Runners add-on in the game.
Yes.
To give you different aspects from Edge Runners and put it in the game too.
And that's how you capitalize on momentum.
Really bring it together.
They said, "Oh, y'all like the anime? Come get this jacket that David was wearing."
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, you like David? Here, be David.
Yeah.
Boom, new skin.
Done. It's the Cuphead show. Cuphead show's fucking great. It's that Saturday morning cartoon vibe shit that you love, and it's I wouldn't say that it's like super faithful to the game, but it's still good. It's still a good show. The second season did lose a little bit of momentum, but the second season lost a little bit of momentum, but it's still decent. It's still a decent adaptation for that game. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Enough said.
Right.
Enough said.
And
then Uncharted, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. It's an adaptation that didn't suck. I'll say that.
It didn't
suck.
I honestly saw like maybe a little bit. I haven't watched the whole movie. I saw a little bit of it. I was just like, oh, okay.
It looks too
all right.
It looks too made for mainstream audience.
Yes, that's it. That's one.
Generic, Indiana Jones ripoff.
But video game. Don't worry, Jeff. We're gonna see that. That's coming. That's next year. That's next year in the Game Awards. Yeah, we know. Just said Mushroom Kingdom. And here we come.
Is a little prelude earlier.
Can't wait for Chris Pratt to be there at the Game Awards.
But hold on, check this out. I saw the trailer again. I recently went to the movies, and I saw the trailer again at the theater, and I listened to it in the big, booming speakers of the system, and Chris Pratt is trying to do some kind of accent.
Oh,
it
definitely.
Almost sounded like it was a Boston kind of accent. And
what did you think, Mario?
I don't know if there's a very heavy popular, like if there's a very heavy Italian population in Boston.
We're going from like the original Mario concept where he's from the Bronx. Like that's this Mario. That's what's going on.
And Boston is primarily Irish.
Okay, see. So I don't know. It just seems like when I listen to that again, it comes through very heavy.
That's Jeff hit it right on the head there. The problem with Uncharted is that Tom Holland is doing a Mark Wahlberg impression, which is fine, except Mark Wahlberg is in the fucking movie.
Yeah, they were both looking real confused the whole movie.
What?
You know what? Tom Holland does this thing with his face when he looks stressed for any reason, where he kind of purses his lips, and it makes him look really funny. He's like,
I would easily take him to the second best.
Like,
and it's so weird, and it's hilarious.
At this point, if you wanted somebody to just do Mark Wahlberg, just fucking hire Mark Wahlberg to do the fucking role. What are you doing? Stop it.
And it really, you know what? It didn't suck. I'm gonna stand by that statement. The movie doesn't suck. It's enjoyable. You can get through it. Yes, it's an Indiana Jones knockoff, but the video game Uncharted, the character difference between Nathan Drake in the game and Nathan Drake in this movie is perhaps the biggest issue. And trying to get that same seasoned experience. This is like, the beginning of like, I think it was Uncharted 3. Like that very, very beginning of Uncharted 3 where they have that little flashback with him and Sam.
I gotta play Uncharted games again.
That is like what the whole movie is. It's you're just living in that flashback. And honestly, this whole movie feels like a flashback. Sully's too young, Nathan's too young, and that kind of throws it off when you have this clear understanding of what it is. But just for the movie that was presented when you sit and watch that movie, it's an enjoyable movie. Is it a great adaptation? No. It's not going to win best adaptation, and I'll be pissed if it does. But the movie itself didn't suck. And yes, that girl was a great villain.
So then, like, the next one that we got, which is also kind of a good one, is most anticipated game. You don't need no fluff on that. We know exactly what that category is, and the nominees are actually, they're up there. Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. All of these have the potential to make people call out of work on that day. All of these.
Yeah. I mean,
oh yeah, oh no, trust me.
Bethesda,
I'm disappearing from work when Final Fantasy 16 comes out.
I mean, like, Starfield is the kind of game that
I can't come in.
I mean, I've only earned half a point this year, so you know, I got 2 coming out.
Yeah.
And then even so, like, I was on the fence about Resident Evil 4's remake. Oh no, after that fucking presentation, no, I'm hype. I'm on board. I'm good. I'm ready. Hogwarts Legacy. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really good game. I'm not going to buy it because I don't want to give J.K. Rowling any money. You thought I was behind that. No. Starfield. I don't know if this game's coming out. I don't know if this game's ever coming out. This game's been in development for fucking 20 years. It feels like.
Because they said they will not do Elder Scrolls 6 until Starfield is out.
Okay, so all right, so it has to come out now because if there's no Elder Scrolls after this, then people are going to riot. So they actually have to launch Starfield.
And then talking about Starfield this whole time, and you don't release that game.
Oh no, yeah, heads will roll. Heads will roll.
And then starting with Phil. Phil would probably be the first one.
Oh yeah. 100%. He's the first one. Ground zero for that riot is his office. And then you got Legend of Zelda, and it's the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Of course, people are waiting on this.
Yeah,
of course.
And that's what Tears of the
Kingdom. Yeah,
Tears of the Kingdom.
Of course, that's no brainer. So yeah, I actually don't know. I don't know who really has it in that category. That's a stacked one right there. And then you got best esports game, which had the best overall experience as far as competitive Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends, Rocket League, and Valorant games. I don't play any of these games, so I have no clue. I don't know.
My kid goes hard on Rocket League.
So
Valorant, I do have a friend. I know they talk about Valorant all the time. They were like, "Yeah, you should get Valorant. You should get Valorant."
Valorant is literally Counter-Strike.
Right.
It is like, Counter-Strike.
It's like, again, oh, yeah, this is cool, I guess.
It's Counter-Strike with a League of Legends skin.
Oddly enough, it's going up against League of Legends and Counter-Strike.
So. Right. So I don't know which one is going to win this one. I'm
do one thing, do it well.
I'm gonna say that it's gonna be Valorant because I see more Valorant things than I see any of these other things.
Right.
So baby.
I don't know. Rocket League is pretty big though. I will say.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. All of these have very, very big communities. I don't doubt that any of them deserve the title. It's just I don't know. I don't know. Then you got best esports athlete, which the description of this title makes me upset because it said the esports athlete judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2022, irrespective of games. So the issue that I have with this is that 4 out of the 5 of these guys have some kind of fucking scandal going on right now. So
but it's all allegedly still.
No. Well, one of them is allegedly still. The rest of them, there are receipts I'm not gonna say what they did because I had to look up what the fucking controversies was, and it's some shit. It is some shit. I'm not gonna say what it is, but out of the 4 that have active controversies going on, one of them is alleged because there's no proof yet. The other 3, you can look on Twitter right now and find exactly what they did. I'm not going to tell you what they did. You got Google, you got Twitter. Go ahead and go find it yourself. We got a time limit to go on here. Best esports team. What team was the best? It's probably going to FaZe Clan because they're rich. And that's just the fact of life. Best. Best is subjective anyway. It's whatever. Then you have best esports coach, and honestly, who cares? Like who
that
cares?
feels like a really weird category, given that you already have best athlete, best team, and then best coach.
It's such a non-category. I don't know why
it feels like a thing where they're trying to be taken seriously as like real sports, and they're like, NFL gives out coach of the year.
Well, hold on.
And I think I respect it as real sports.
Okay,
but I feel like it feels like one of those things where it's like, well, if we're a real sport, we got to give out coach of the year.
Okay.
NBA gives out coach of the year.
I see.
NFL gives out coach of the year, so we got to give out coach of the year.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, I redirected that quick. I don't want to disrespect any gamers.
I'm about to say, like, hold on.
That gamer community.
I'm literally about to go compete this weekend. What you mean? No, but I see what you're saying, and I get that. Best esports event. Now, this one is actually pretty good. You got the Pro Gamer League Major Antwerp 2022. The 2022 Midseason Invitational. I forget which game this is for. I think it's like Overwatch or something. Valorant Champions 2022, League of Legends 2022 World Championship, and Evo 2022, which is, I think it's like the first time Evo got on this list, which is pretty fucking hype. But yeah, no, all of these are pretty good. All these are well deserving of the title. I don't know which one it's going to go to. It's probably going to go to Evo or League of Legends, just because it's just cause. But yeah, I don't know, and that's a good category because all these could very well take it. But do you see what I was talking about with like the earlier categories where they're just like, it's just God of War for like 10 categories straight, like.
Yeah, it's very. There's a heavy slant on the categories and the nomination. Well, I won't say the categories. They have a variety of categories, but it's a heavy slant on the nominations.
So,
see, I don't think any of those, or I don't think that one's been out long enough
because it hasn't
for it to be in that many categories.
Because it hasn't,
but it's probably going to win most of them.
It probably is. And honestly, like the only one that I can really like give a pass to is best performance, because Christopher Judge acts his ass off. So I like that one category. I am totally fine with them putting God of War Ragnarok, because both him and Sonny, and I'm not gonna say his last name because I don't want to butcher it again. They both act their ass off. They always have. So I have no problem with them being on that category. It's good. That's a good category. Bless you.
Sorry.
So, but like the rest of them, I'm just like, why?
See, and I kind of feel like there should be a cutoff, even with like when they do the movie stuff. It's like a month before nominations go out.
Well, see,
if it hasn't come out yet, it doesn't get included.
So here's the thing: there is actually a cutoff point for these nominations, and it's like in October, I think.
And
God of War didn't release until like 6 days ago.
I literally kid you not when I said it was the write-in. And because it was a write-in and they knew it was coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where like, and Linda was just like, she's continuously just hitting nail on the head here. Just it's coming down to like what the criteria is. So if does it only really count for like the review copies and it going gold before the cutoff date, or does it matter if people like the gamers, the people who are voting on this thing, well, supposedly voting on these things, do we wait on them to actually get their hands on the game and then make an informed vote? So I don't know which criteria they're using, and that's what's bothering me. Not the fact that they are on the list, it's the fact that it's not transparent. And that's what bothers me the most, is that it's just not transparent. So if they told me exactly why they put God of War Ragnarok on the Game of the Year award list, fine. I might not agree with it, but you have your reasons. You told me why. There it is right there. Like, it's like, if best multiplayer and best family game can be clear and concise, why can't the other categories? And that's what's bothering me, and like quite a few other people, because there are people right now going, what the actual fuck? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an issue that game, it would be a no-brainer for it to be a contestant or, you know, a nomination for next year.
Yeah.
But for it to like technically come out after the cutoff, still make the list, and have a pretty good chance of winning just by name, that's, you know,
right.
That's a little off. That's a little off. And I think that's a problem. But it's when you don't have that clear criteria that you can base it on, when you don't have that clear, because being nominated is one thing, but you know, like once something actually wins, or when that decision or deciding what wins a particular category, that's where they have to be like extra clear. Okay, right. Fine. You made it, you're here, but it won because of XYZ, ABC. And if you don't explain that part, then that's going to be a problem. And it's going to upset a few people. And it's going to like cause people to kind of lose faith in the Game Awards, because it's just like you said, these are the games that they're wanting to push. These are like, this company paid XYZ dollar to make sure that their game got nominated and won, because who's not going to go out and want to play the game of the year?
Right.
You know? So whoever throws the most money might be the one most likely to win.
Exactly. So I'm just,
if you ain't got Sony money, or you ain't got
you got the Nintendo money, then you out.
Yeah, like, you know, because they know Microsoft first party titles are here, because they would win the category, not because it would be a better game, but because they got long dollars.
Right. And that's really all it was for me. I'm just like, why the fuck are these, like, half of these games here? I honestly, if they just told me why, it wouldn't even be a problem. I would be a little annoyed, because like, why? But yeah, sure, I don't care. That's fine. But I care now, because you guys just won't tell me why. You won't. Why is God of War here?
Like, you seem to really have a stick up your ass about specifically God of War being on there.
Well, no, it's the biggest.
So, like, I still think, like I said before, the only way that makes sense is that the game has to go gold before the end of October.
Okay.
Not that it has to be released to the general public before the end of October.
Right. But and I think that kind of brings me to like what I wanted to end my tirade off on.
It might also be, before you go off on that, it might also be based off of the straight length of the game as well. Not the max amount of hours that they want to pad out the game to be.
Right.
God of War Ragnarok has a lot of that, because, no spoilers, but they present a lot of things to you that you can't do anything with to go get these chests or go explore these other areas until almost the end of the game, and then you have to go back and go. So it's stuff to pad out. But what I'm thinking is that if it's something where, like, okay, the game is under 20 hours, not including all the fetch quests and crap, then cool. It went gold before the end of October. It comes out before a certain amount of time before the Game Awards,
Mhm.
And it's less than a certain length.
So while all this is like definitely a playing factor here, the issue, the main issue that I'm having with the Game Awards, and this is not a new issue. This is an ongoing thing that really pisses me off about the Game Awards, is that they advertise it as an award show that is catered to gamers, and all the gamers vote on these, and it's basically the popularity contest of between gamers, right?
Pretty much.
If that's the case, how would the gamers be able to vote on this before the Game Awards show up in December? Like, that's like what, how many weeks is that?
And there again, and this is the point that I was making earlier, and this is not to say that it's right or it's accurate or it should be, but the way that happens, if I get an opportunity to cast my vote,
for the Game Awards,
if I get to cast my vote, and I know that God of War Ragnarok is on that list,
to me to have Game of the Year awards before the year is over. It would always make more sense to me to have them in like February of the following year.
So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that like if this is catered to gamers and the gamers' votes are important, I feel like it's like for a game like God of War, for a game like what else is under, because I know I'm just beating down God of War right now.
The other Stray,
yeah, even Stray hasn't been out that long. I mean, it's been out longer than God of War for sure, but like Stray, I don't think that Stray has been out long enough for it to have a lasting impression on gamers' minds for it to be that high up in the it's not something that I would put there, because like I didn't even like I learned yesterday that you don't play as a cat like for most of the game,
which is really interesting because of course the way they present that trailer and
the way
like
they
that.
present
Sorry, spoiler alert and everything, but it's been out long enough.
But the point I'm saying is that I think like the Game Awards isn't marketing itself right. It feels a little disingenuous if that's the case, but it's an award show. We all know that award shows they don't really take into account all the votes that the public submits, right? It just if you're going to keep
No, I get it. I get it.
If you're gonna keep, if you're gonna keep marketing yourself as an award show that the gamers can actually influence, then I don't know if God of War Ragnarok or Stray should be on that list, because I don't think they've been out long enough for gamers to have made an informed decision. That if it's just we're just taking all the critics input into consideration for these, then shit, fine, all is well, because I know,
because I mean, then at least it's clear.
It's clear. That's exactly it. At least it's clear. So
because I didn't hear anything about a beta or early access or anything like that would have allowed anybody to be playing God of War any sooner than release. Right. And that being the case, no one should have enough experience to have been able to vote on it at the time of voting to make it a contender for Game of the Year.
Right.
Simple as that.
Which just goes to add, like, this is not like it goes to confirm that the gamer votes don't really matter at the end of the day. But I also could be talking out of my ass, and just take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just I could just be talking out my ass. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. No, I don't like the lack of transparency.
Right, and that's actually a problem, because it's, again, Game of the Year is one of those things where the criteria, even though it says Game of the Year,
and they might explain it briefly at the actual thing too. So you may want to go look at.
Well, I'm on the site right now. That's what I'm saying. Like the only descriptions we get for the categories are just like you click on a category and it's right there under it. So best game direction awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. That, like, I know what that means. A lot of gamers don't know what the fuck that means. That's kind of where I'm getting at. You have to be a little bit more clear in what the criteria is.
Games eligible for Game Awards this year must be available to public consumption.
I'm gonna send Linda a link in like 2 minutes.
November 18th is the cutoff date.
So God of War, plenty of time.
Okay.
It's also a short enough game. Plenty of time for like if you look at video game sales, the majority, and you should know this, the majority of your game sales are going to be in the first like couple weeks, and then it decreases exponentially, and you might see a jump around the holidays because that's
that came out on
sales and things like that. But because of that, the majority of your consumers that want that game are going to get it within the first couple of weeks of release. So I say that's more because what date is the game show or the Game Awards?
It's on the 8th,
December
I think.
8th.
8th, yeah, December.
Yeah. Then that gives people a couple of weeks. Plus, a lot of people have time off for things around Thanksgiving to be able to really dive into a game that might be turned in last minute. But I'd say it's plenty of time for people to really consider the game, especially if you're going to sit down and play something like God of War. And a lot of people are going to play and finish the whole thing within a couple weeks' time of getting it.
Nah, I'm still.
I don't think Stray or Plague Tale are. I don't think either one of those had a significant enough impact overall.
Well, I mean that's
Game of the Year.
And that's what I said about those.
They were weird to be on that list for Game of the Year.
Well, that's why I trust me.
I mean, Stray fits
at the top
beautifully as an indie game.
Yeah, no, as an indie game, yeah, no, absolutely, Stray can be on there as far as Game of the Year goes. Like, and I ripped into Plague Tale and Stray off the bat. Like, I love Plague Tale, the first one. I haven't played the second one. Why the fuck is it here at Game of the Year? That is not a Game of the Year title.
I don't know. I also think like there's a couple other things that can kind of go in, but we'll just have to see what happens December 8th. Maybe we'll come back and do a live. We'll do a post.
You already know what's going to happen.
That was it. If that game didn't have that premise, it wouldn't have had the hype it had. It wouldn't have had the success that it had. Because once again, you see that no one talks about the game anymore. It's nothing that's made a lasting impact. It was a fun little game that you play through once and you never play again. And you may think about back, oh, that was a good game before. I might pick that up again. But the game itself is not anything more significant or special, especially not something that deserves to be as Game of the Year. But I guess they got to have losers too, so hopefully that'll be one of them.
Linda, I'm gonna need you to get on a microphone here if you're gonna keep having all this input and insight.
She's neck deep in a Binding of Isaac run, so that's not happening.
I can put it on my phone, but then it can be all kinds of noise and stuff.
Yeah. Nah, well, honestly, unless there's anything else you want to add to Game Awards, David, I'm with you. I feel like it got the popular vote, and that's why it ended up on the list, and that's why it has a contender to win, just because it's God of War. Not because anybody played it and thought it was that great a game, because I'm waiting for people to come back and be like, you know what? It's not as good as I thought.
So, like, that's the TLDR of this whole rant is I am not sure why half of these games are on half of these categories. I can also be convinced, so please take what I say with a grain of salt. Stray shouldn't be a Game of the Year award nominee. Plague Tale shouldn't be one. I don't think it's been that influential or whatever. At least with God of War and Elden Ring, there's a lot of hype behind them, so at least that there's that going for them. Yeah, I'm about to say if we're gonna do that, we should switch Stray with Cult of the Lamb, because Cult of the Lamb has been pretty hype. It's still hype. I still need to actually buy it and play it. But yeah, it's been so hype. It's been I'm shocked that it's not here. So, but that's my rant. I got really nothing else unless you guys got something.
Nope. That's it for Game of the Year. We will have to wait and see exactly what that is. Maybe we'll come back and that airs December 8th at 7:30.
Yes.
What day is December 8th? That sounds like a Saturday.
That's a Thursday.
Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll be a week out. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something that weekend or something. Who knows? We'll see. But okay.
Honestly, more than likely, I'm going to be streaming it on my channel.
Right. I was about to say, and you know what? Maybe we'll like just do something and do a live reaction or something. A live react.
I might just stream it, but we'll see. But yeah, unless you guys got something else for me, I'm going to take off because I'm going to go to work tomorrow and I'm going to go settle down. And well, I say settle down. I'm going to play God of War for like an hour and then I'm going to go to bed.
Well, I mean, apparently it's the game of the year, so you got to try it out.
I got to try out the game of the year. But yeah, no, you guys take care. I will be at DreamHack this weekend. I will try my best to not go 0-2 in the tournaments that I've entered, and then I will talk about it next week.
All right, and I'm thinking next week is going to be Spotlight Heroic Hat.
Hey,
DreamHack. So get some video, get some footage, and we'll chop it up, clip it up, and we'll put all that in and
follow me on TikTok because I'm going to be making videos while I'm there. I'll probably go live a couple times because I hit 1,000 followers. I got live access. Let's go. Thank you.
Congrats.
But yeah, I'm going to take off. You guys have a good rest of your show. And I will see you guys next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, sir.
So it is that time. Let me change the live chat tag, the banner, move it, the little scrolling thing. We are about to get into our spoiler territory. I want to talk about it. And everybody here has seen it. So I'm going to put up the spoiler review. And you know what? We're going to take a quick break. This is the time for people to get off. Go watch the movie, come back. You can pick it up. We're at the 113 mark. So if you have not seen Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, if you've not seen that, this is your warning. Spoilers ahead. So take a moment, regroup, decide what you want to do. Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? Let us know. You get 10 seconds. And we're back. That was your 10-second warning. That was your spoiler warning. So from here out, we are now in spoiler territory, and we are here to talk Wakanda Forever. I was really wanting to get more people in. We do a late show, and I thought it was kind of obvious we was going to be doing Wakanda Forever this week, and it was like everybody saw it. So I was like really thinking it was going to be I thought it was going to be a whole show, Wakanda Forever.
Like I even went today and saw it.
I know, and I want to thank you for that. But you enjoyed the movie, so that's awesome too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to see it anyway,
right?
Honestly,
but you made it a point to see it today because of the show,
right?
And that is my point. So I appreciate that.
Which I will say, I was going to wait for it to hit streaming because I know it's only going to be like a month, maybe 2. It'll be on Disney.
Yeah, it'd be like 45 days, 40 days. And actually, if you pay for it, you can get it usually in like 33. It's weird.
But I kind of wanted to do the whole date day.
Okay.
But I have not been inside. I have not been inside a movie theater since 2019.
Wow. Do you remember what you saw then?
What was it? The Battle Angel, Alita. Yeah,
Oh,
that was
James Cameron.
the last thing I saw in theaters.
Cool.
So
I
actually,
enjoyed
no, that wasn't 19. That was 18. I think.
I don't recall. It's been a minute. I know Alita Battle Angel, if I'm not mistaken, was I'm trying to think like what movies were right around the beginning of the pandemic when like theaters shut down and we couldn't go nowhere and stuff like that. So it wouldn't shock. I want to say that was like
Tenet.
Yep.
That was like one of the ones where
that was one of the big movies that was like a big deal because they had to be released in theaters and it didn't do well and everybody complained. That was a really, you know what? I don't know that I would have enjoyed that movie more in the theater.
I didn't even see it.
I had a hard time understanding it even when I watched it at home. And if I had not been able to go back and like rewind and pause and play that scene again, it would have been really, really weird.
Yeah, your man just uses the like big screen and then the wham sound, and then the camera turns in weird angles, and then you think something like really profound is happening, and it's just like these motherfuckers just sleep.
Yeah,
there's a whole movie about people sleep.
Right. No, Alita Battle Angel actually was 2019. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2019. So you were correct in your estimate. Enjoyed that movie myself. But I recently
I was asleep.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
It's a good plane movie.
I was working third shift at the time.
So. I don't need to pay money to sleep. That's my thing. Like if I know that I'm tired, I'm not going to the theater where it's gonna be dark and chilly and I gotta stay warm and stuff. Can't do it.
That's the funny part about it though. Like I should have been wide awake. But whatever. We're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about me sleeping in the theater because I'm an idiot.
It's all good. What we are here to talk about is Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. As this is a Gag Reels movie review, let's start with the basics. We'll do quick synopsis and then we'll do some Q&A portions of it. And, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. What we liked, what we didn't like, what could be improved. And we will finish out, as I've learned a very, very wonderful format, what we think comes afterwards. After watching this movie, it gave a clear outline of some things moving forward. And how do you think those events are going to play out? We can start with a very simple scoring system here. We'll just say 10-point scale. Where's the movie fall for you? David, let's start with you.
Honestly, I'm going to do like an 8.5.
Okay. Solid.
Because, I mean, it was a good movie. I liked the everything, all the points they hit in the movie. There were some things I loved about it, and there were some things where I was like, this shit taking forever. Like, what time is it? How long have I been in here?
Not a short movie by any means, so acceptable.
No.
All right.
But, you know, there are movies that I've gone, they're a 3-hour movie. It gets to the end, I was like, what? It's over already?
Yeah.
But this one, like an hour and a half in, I'm like, shit, how long have I been in here?
Okay. Jeff.
Yeah.
1 to 10.
I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay.
I think it's a great movie. I do think that it's long, but I think that some of that was just a function of like Marvel always kind of making it be about how it impacts the larger MCU, right? And because these are two nations who have been largely insulated and unknown from the rest of the MCU, with Wakanda only being revealed 6 years ago, and I mean Namor home. I don't want to say planet. Yeah, they don't even know that they exist. I think like some of that stuff, like all the stuff with like Coulson and not Coulson, what's his name, Ross, and
the colonizer,
Defonte, the Countess.
Yeah, and you know, like they got to keep showing all that stuff to keep it tethered to, I guess, the rest of the MCU and what it's going to mean for that. Now that like she knows all that's going on, but so I agree that there was a couple of things where it was just like, okay, like what are we doing right now? But I think that's kind of just like it is what it is in some Marvel movies, because if you're trying to tell this like separate story, but it's connected to the larger universe, there's an expectation from the viewer to also understand how it connects to the larger universe. But I think the acting was phenomenal. I think that like Ryan Coogler's directing, just like his choices, when to just like even just like letting shit just be like silent, and like, you know, I think that I look at movies kind of like gymnastics, right? Like there's some sports where it's like I play against you one-on-one, or my team versus your team, we score more points, right? But in gymnastics, it's interesting because every move, or every, like if you take like the vault, right? When you take certain vaults have certain skills that give it a point value, like a maximum point value, right?
Right.
So it's like you have this vault with a high degree of difficulty, and then you get scored on how well you do it. So it's like you can only, like some vaults, like you can't get a 10 because it's only a 9.8 vault. It's not enough like difficulty.
It's not an option.
But you can still stick a 9.8, and that's like a really, really good score. And I think with this film, there was just like such a high degree of difficulty. There's the recast T'Challa backlash. There's your star actor like dying, and just like someone who you were close to, who the whole cast was close to. I think emotionally they had to like really go through, like even their characters in the film were going through a lot emotionally, but just like them trying to continue on the legacy was, I'm sure, emotional. You have the added difficulty of now we're showing kind of indigenous Mexican and South American culture as well. There's the difficulty of like handling something like that, because sometimes people try stuff like that and it don't always go well. So I think I just look at how much difficulty it like was surrounding this film for it to even be like quasi decent. I would have been like, you know what, like I get it, but for it to be this good, for it to, I think the other thing about it too is just like I like this movie because it was very clear that, you know, you were supposed to feel stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes like that artistry, where it's like it's not just like we're trying to tell this comic book story and get us to a place where, all right, now we got Kang and this and that, and who's the next big bad, and I'm trying to figure it out like a detective. It's like, nah, man, like in this moment right now, like you need to like feel like what these characters are going through. I mean, it's the same feeling you got at the end of Endgame when like literally you watching your heroes like turn to dust. Now we know as comic book fans, we know they coming back, But
Right.
like for the people who didn't know, I'm sure it was like
They killed Spider-Man.
that much grief, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but like this was like real, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think on a personal level, I feel like, you know, I mean, when Chadwick died, it hit me hard. Not I ain't know him, but I mean, I worked in the industry where what he did impacted a lot of what I did. And, you know, the way he did the first movie and playing that character and being in the MCU really helped a lot of Black people in a lot of industries like tangential to entertainment, because we were able to be invited in certain spaces and like share our voice because people needed to know like things from our perspective. And when he passed, it was like it hit me hard, but then I like sucked it up because it's like we're also in the middle of a pandemic and there's like more serious things going on for me to cry about some actor who I didn't know personally. Right. And then it's just like from the very beginning of this movie, like Ryan Coogler is like, nah, fam, like
you gonna see my friend.
in order to do this right, you're gonna have to like feel this. And we're gonna go ahead and punch you in the stomach one time in the beginning. We're gonna have our moment of silence.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see everything that he did, how he helped shape and mold this, and then we're gonna jump right in, and it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, I've cried harder in a movie, but I've never cried as many times as I cried throughout Black Panther.
Okay. I feel that.
I was like, and I ain't have enough time to get. Actually, I had a really weird experience because I'm like, I went to like a noon showing on Friday,
right?
Because I always go because I don't really like going
you know what?
evenings.
I think I saw your Twitter on that.
So I'm like, you know, I'm on the way. I'm like, yo, Wakanda. I'm on the Wakanda too, and I'm in the car, and it's loud. It's real loud. Like when I'm like, I'm like walking in and people are like, ooh. But when I pull into the parking lot, it's like 6 school buses. And I was like, oh, I guess I was like, when I saw the movie the first time, I was in San Diego. I didn't dawn on me like in a Black city like Atlanta, they're going to bring the kids to see this as a school function. You know what I mean?
That field trip day.
And then I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll be in like a different theater. And it's literally like I'm walking in and they all walk out to go get snacks. And they're all wearing like the Bel Air prep, like looking like it's like uniform kids.
Ooh, private school.
And one of them was like, woof. And it's like they know what it is. And then I was like, but yeah, man, I think degree of difficulty, super high. And it exceeded. It was like one of those things where it's like it might not have been like what you thought you wanted when you walked in, but it's what you needed.
Yeah.
And it's what I needed to really be able to like move forward. And yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's what that whole movie, that was the main story of the movie. It was not about the actual fighting between the two nations. It was moving past that grief.
Yeah.
I would say for Namor, letting go of that anger. And for Shuri, embracing that pain so that she could move on. You know, like and one of the things about this movie, and I continue to hear this in all the different comments I see in the forums and the threads, various groups, the common theme is everybody who's dealt with loss, pain, grief can relate to this movie on a whole other level. And there were a couple of things when I went through the first viewing, I had some immediate knee-jerk nitpicks. But as I thought about it, continued on, and I actually started to try to do a show on. I wanted to do a Black Panther Wakanda Forever review on like Saturday or Sunday, so that we could have the content out. And that, but I really wanted to take time to think about it. I didn't even put a spoiler thread up in our Facebook group. You can actually click that QR code right over there in the corners, right above Jeff there. Click that QR code. It'll take you to all of our links. One of them is our Facebook group. Or you can just find us on Facebook, Grown A Geeks. But I waited, and our normal times, somebody had asked in the group, like, when were we going to be able to post spoilers? And it's in our notes, it's in our rules, and, not everybody reads it, so that's fine. But typically it's like Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Following a movie release, we give the weekend, we give that Monday. Tuesday, initially, I think we did noon, and I think I might have moved it to like 2 p.m. or something like that. But I didn't post a spoiler thread until today. And there were obviously people who wanted to talk about it, some things that people wanted to say. And I just needed a little time myself just to process everything that I had seen and, really, really dive into what I thought about it. Because there were some things, of course, like David, I'm with you. Yeah, movie was long. But it was an interesting long, like it wasn't so long that I was upset at how long it was. But there were times where the stuff that they showed wasn't relevant. It wasn't relevant to the movie. Jeff, it was relevant, as you point out, to the future of the MCU. And it's things that could have been in another series, another TV show. It could have been a standalone special feature on the Blu-ray or something like that, but to include it in the movie
was unnecessary.
Well, it's not so much that it was unnecessary, but it was a difficult task to fit that in and do it in a way that you almost sneak it past us. Because every time we got to one of those scenes, they coupled it with something that was relevant and important so that you were confused if it like really had to happen. My personal score, I gave the movie a 9 as well. And my only point off was for the juggling of time. And the reason I call it the juggling of time is it felt like all of the side stories that did not involve Namor or Shuri, if it wasn't Wakanda versus Talokan, it was basically filler and nothing more than Easter eggs being, just like some seeds being planted for future stuff. When we saw Countess come in, like Everett Ross, I thought there would be more involvement from him, given that he, like looking at how heavily he was featured in the first one, I thought there would be more from him. But I kind of get why they did it the way they did it. He didn't have to be there. But Everett Ross is an enjoyable character. You know what I'm saying? He's like
it's like they needed him to be in Wakanda for whatever they doing next. And this was how they gonna get him there. Right. So instead of spending one episode of Thunderbolts or whoever on how he got there, let's just knock it all out in one fell swoop.
And I literally feel like there's about 30 minutes of this movie that is just build up for other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the movie feels long, but they trick you because they break those moments up in between other scenes and they couple it with something that you like or something that was entertaining to slip it past you.
Now, I will say this. I will say that also I think it was also kind of showing like Wakanda does not have any more like allies in America, essentially. You know what I mean? Because their top one was going to jail. And so obviously, was it the Countess?
Uh-huh.
She's obviously, she's gonna do whatever she can to get her hands on that vibranium.
Deputy director of the CIA. We know the Thunderbolts are coming.
We already know she's a bad guy.
Right. Well, so she's a weird person, kind of like Ross was. Like, so Thunderbolt Ross, while not a bad guy, not a good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Very self-serving, his interests above everything else. And they have the raft. He's put superheroes in jail in the past. Sokovia Accords, you know, like all of that is Thunderbolt Ross. With the change in casting there, a little bit different for that role. So
yeah, but I was just more saying, like, I think they were, because I also think it will be weird if the last time we saw like Wakanda and America, they were getting along, and then after this movie, now it's like an issue. So it's kind of like they were just, I feel like they were kind of just wrapping up, like, okay, we had the UN thing where they sent the mercenaries in, blah blah blah, whoop de whoop. Like,
right.
This is how we're wrapping that story up. Like, they're coming after the vibranium,
and not disputing that point. Like I said, it felt like,
but it could have been wrapped up sooner. It didn't have to be like 3 scenes interspersed where he's calling them like, fam, you in the CIA. Like, you just going outside and calling through chemio bees on your phone, and you think like that's not being tracked.
I mean, my thing is, like, if he's calling through the chemio bees, how was she able to like hack it so quick? Nah, she ain't hacked that.
Nope,
that don't work. But it, you know, it's movie magic. We let some stuff be. We don't.
Unless you just put like a microphone, like a mini microphone on it, so they can record what he was saying. But nah, because if she could have hacked into like the chemio bees, they would have found Shuri.
Exactly, they would have already had what they needed.
Yeah.
No, but
I think there was a listening device in his phone, and because he was putting the beads up to his phone to hide the fact that he was on the beads.
No, I mean, Countess said that she hacked the bead. Like, her words were she hacked the beads, and like, because he found the beads, and that's what she asked about. She was like, you know, you have the beads, so I know you've been in touch with them. Because he's like, beads? What beads? She was like, oh, don't do this. Right before she whipped out the cuffs. Julie Louis Dreyfus with cuffs. I think the one of the other reasons, like I said, the juggling of time. Riri Williams was a very enjoyable character who I don't feel got the story she deserved. She does have her own show coming out. There will be an Ironheart series. So
yeah, I thought it was a great introduction for someone who clearly is going to have like more to do.
Right. But it's just like,
But it's like we also are already complaining that the movie's too long.
And
I think that's a testament to like just how good she was, because we also have this like,
I need more of her.
This is a Marvel movie, but this is also a Black movie, right? And so it's almost like reverse Coming to America, where instead of the royal prince goes to America and like learns all American stuff, it's like the American person goes and like sees all this like African royalty and technological advancements and stuff like that. And it was just like, it added even just like another layer of like Blackness to it, because obviously like Wakandan Blackness is like one thing, and like American Blackness is like adjacent, but it's like different. So even just like their reactions to things, her comedic timing is incredible in my opinion.
Very much so. Very impressed with that. And you know, I look forward to seeing more of what she does, and I cannot wait to watch the Ironheart show. I think that's going to be a fantastic show. But little things like, and you know, maybe I'm saying it's little, but it's just a thought of like, I thought it would have been really cool, really interesting to have Riri be more involved in either the development of the Blue Angels or in like let her be the one to figure out the heart-shaped herb, because now she's not as attached, she's not as connected, fresh set of eyes, and you know, Shuri's been dealing with some stuff, and you know, like it's just she's sitting there looking at the board and she sees the equation and she's like, you know, well, what about this or what about that? Granted, kind of asking about the bracelet and then her sitting there staring at it. Okay, that works, but I wanted Riri to be
more important.
Right, more important than just the plot device to get her introduced. Because when they talk about the scientist, they should have been talking about the teacher that sold the device to the CIA. That's who they really should have been chasing or going after. The fact that it was Riri Williams who built the device, you know, like nobody.
You got to find the person who built the device, because if they kill the person who sold the device, the government is just going to go find who built the device again and have them build it.
But the government didn't know it was her to begin with.
The blueprints.
They would have found out.
They would have, right? And I'm not saying they wouldn't have found out, but the fact
they would have
put
put a black bag over that teacher head. They would have put them down in whatever facility, and then the teacher would have gave Riri up
super quick.
Yeah,
and that would have been fine. But the fact that like they came right in knowing that, oh no, the scientist is Riri Williams, da 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 da. It was just like, okay, that's super convenient plot device. And again, I get it. We got to get from point A to point B with certain things. And because everything else had so much emotional weight, everything else was so important and it was so moving, having her come in and her stuff being more like comedy and, you know, comedy relief, and she's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? All these other characters are fictional people. You know, you've got super scientist genius Shuri, who's the princess of Wakanda in the future Black Panther. You have Okoye, Dora Milaje. All of these other people who are like unbelievable. And then we have a girl that I could have gone to school with in Riri Williams. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I know from my job or whatever. And someone real like that is something that kind of gives the grounding element to this movie and makes you forget that you are watching a work of fiction and that all of this is fantasy, because you have a character like Riri Williams that really draws it in and normalizes these things, because these are real reactions to that type of situation. You don't think about like, oh, let me get this perfect weapon to fight with. You're like, nope, this is the thing closest to me. I'm gonna throw this speaker. That didn't work. I'm gonna grab this bigger speaker because that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And those are
no, that was a heater.
Right. Okay, yeah. Right. I'm gonna grab this heater. And it's such a great character. And like I said, given that she's, you know, the way that Shuri kind of talks to her, she understands that she's on that level. She knows that she's that intelligent. We watch her kind of do the whole like montage of building her suit and whatnot. I knew coming in when they said Riri Williams, I knew what that meant. I knew that meant Iron Man armor. The trailer gave away some of that. I knew that she was going to be doing the whole montage of building the suit and whatnot. It wasn't, that didn't need to be the total participation, achievement, what's the word? Contribution. That didn't need to be her sole contribution, was building the Ironheart suit. And that's what I wanted more from Riri. And I think they could have done it inside the same time frame. They wouldn't have had to extend any time. They just could have added her more to the development of something. It could have been like I said, if she had been the one to work out a kink on the Blue Angels because she knows how to build this Iron Man suit. Shuri, super smart, clearly. Probably the smartest person on the planet now until we get a Reed Richards. And as a result, she could probably figure anything out if she spends enough time on it. But as we saw, sometimes it ain't about just being smart. You need that extra thing. You've got Riri Williams right here. Let her be that extra thing. And it could have been to either figure out something with the Blue Angels, or she could have been the catalyst for figuring out the heart-shaped herb. Any of that, I think, would have been just a nice addition for her character.
All right. Here's why I disagree about the heart-shaped herb. Because the whole thing was the whole point of her journey was that she couldn't save her brother.
Right.
And I think that she needed to be the one that figured it out for her to be able to like truly like move on and have confidence like in herself, because the fact that she wasn't able to save her brother is what gave her like the kind of like the self-doubt, and why she wasn't just like, okay, well, obviously like I'm next in line, so I'm the Black Panther. She stopped believing in it completely because, well, obviously like she could have made a suit for herself, a Black Panther suit with like powers built into it, and just like walked around
just
and,
like she could have been in the Blue Angel suit.
Yeah, but I really do think that like I think I agree with what you're saying. Like, yeah, to a degree, I think Riri could have done like she could have done more, but again, like the movie's already like almost 3 hours long, and again, it's like something has to go. And I think there was so much lifting to do emotionally with like everything that kind of happened. I think that like, to me, like I felt like the only scenes where I was really like, I could do without this was obviously like the scenes with like Ross, but also like I wasn't really that drawn into the like them swimming down where his people lived at, just because it just felt awkward, because like everybody's like swimming and it's like so free, but Shuri has to be in this like mechanical
pressure suit,
suit,
this diver suit,
and it's like that was real, and she needed to see that, and we needed to see her see that. But there was like a little something about that for me where I was like, all right, like this might be a beat too long or a beat too much, but yeah. I mean, but for the most part, like I just don't have like a whole lot of crazy criticism. I feel like everything is like a nitpick. You know what I mean?
And I don't have crazy criticisms, like I said. And to be clear, I don't want Riri to be the one to figure out the heart-shaped herb, but I want Shuri to look at her like they took this random girl off the street and decided to protect her from everybody when, Killmonger was left. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just looking at the comparisons and the differences of who these people are versus those people. You know what I'm saying? You got Shuri and Ramonda, who literally, she's with us, period. And took her in and was like by her side.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like we could have a setup or an opportunity to kind of put that bond between Shuri and Riri and have it set up in such a way. Now, after the passing of Ramonda, if Shuri's inconsolable, I get it. And then she wants to throw herself into her work because that's what she does. Riri being that same kind of person who may have not necessarily dealt with the same kind of loss, but like they've had that conversation, they bonded and whatnot. So she would kind of know, because when they were in the lab and she was looking at the car and all of that, she kind of told her some of that stuff. So she knows a little bit about, they can make that conversation. Boom. If she's just the catalyst that puts Shuri back on the path, that works. When it goes to Tala Khan and she's thinking about, I've been down there. He wants to kill this person. I'm fiddling with this bracelet. I'm looking at this bracelet. Oh, wait, there's fibers on this bracelet. What is this hemp made out of? You know what? Let me just peel this apart and test it. Come on. That even for Shuri, that was one of those things.
Except for the fact that she knew those fibers were made from the plant that grew on the vibranium because he told her that.
Yeah, I mean, she straight up said these have to be like hundreds of years old. So I get that part. Again, my only complaint, there were those scenes in the movie. There was probably about 30 minutes total that could have been a special attaché to the movie. And if you had taken them out, I don't think it would have changed the overall vibe of the movie. I don't think it would have changed the tone of the movie. I think we would have gotten the same emotions in the movie. And I'm with you, Jeff. Like I was a little choked up in the theater a couple times. And it was funny because it would be like so unexpected. You know what I'm saying? I'd be sitting there and I'd see something, somebody would say something, and then it's just like, boom, there's a lump. It's back. Okay, take a breath. All right, wipe this eye because the screen's a little blurry. Okay, we good. A few minutes later, boom, another scene. You're like, dang, I wasn't even done really from choking up the last time. And then again, boom. And they just kept hitting you with it throughout the whole movie. But overall, yeah, fantastic. And kudos to everyone involved, Ryan Coogler especially, to be able, like you said, to have to go up against such a high degree of difficulty and stick it. The writers to reshape this story the way they did so that everything flowed. And like you said, handling the recast, the next Black Panther, the moving forward while maintaining honor and respect to not only the characters, but the actor.
Yeah.
Which I truly appreciated how they handled that. Like, that was phenomenal to me. Because that paid homage to him, who he was as an actor, who he was as a character, and gave that closure without doing what some people would find to be disrespectful.
Yeah, I think like this should just be like exhibit A, and like fans sometimes just needing to like shut up and let artists create the art. Because okay, like the arguments, the recast T'Challa arguments on the whole were, they were logical. I think there were some flaws in some of the logic, like, there's been how many Batmans and James Bonds, but it's also just like none of those characters have really worked inside of like a continuous universe where it affects like other films and other movies as well.
Right.
And then I think too, it goes back to what you were saying, Sam, respecting the legacy of Chadwick, not only like him, but the people who had to work with him. And then who wants to be the actor in Hollywood where you say, I'm here to replace Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther on this movie set and in the MCU moving forward? When and why would you want to do that when we already have a system where the multiverse exists? I'm sure there, whatever planet the X-Men is on, Black Panther and Storm might be married there. It's going to be a different T'Challa. He can look different because we've already established that people with the same name can look different in different universes, and people who look the same can have different names in the universes. We've established all this before. So why not
all the
just
differences in the variants?
So why not just like let the people who get paid to figure it out, and then we can comment on it moving forward. Like, especially somebody who has a track record that Ryan Coogler has. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never saw Fruitvale Station because I just don't really watch a lot of movies like that, but I've heard it's phenomenal. Everything I've seen that Ryan Coogler has done is phenomenal. Like, he puts the utmost care and thought into his work, and I just think sometimes like that's something that people don't consider because they just want what they want. They want to see, you want to see another Black Panther on the screen. Okay, well, you did.
Mm.
Her name is Shuri. Now what?
Yeah.
You were mad because they killed Killmonger off, and you said he would have been able to come back and have an impact on this. Well, he did come back.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
And you know what? Even that was like, man, like the writers. Credit to the writers, because they had to basically rewrite this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like because of the
Of course.
Whatever they had planned before was probably along the lines of this, but they clearly had to go back and make adjustments, and they had to do some things differently. And you know, because like I don't think a scene like Killmonger, I don't think the Killmonger scene would have had the same impact had it been.
No, I think it would have.
If Queen Ramonda had died. Well, see, here's the thing. Okay, so to clarify, if this movie had been set up in a similar fashion with the idea of Black Panther still, you know, Chadwick Boseman still being able to be in the role, and we were going to try to progress the story, still going with Namor, you know, all of those things still would have been in place. There would have been no reason for him to return to the astral plane.
He's needed more heart. They still had to get more of the heart-shaped herb.
Well, first of all, she would have been able to synthesize it from his blood or something along those lines. If he had still been there.
But I mean, the way I see it is, they probably would have. He probably would have just been sick for the whole movie, and then at some point, he does have to go back through the ritual once they resynthesize more of the heart-shaped herb, because whatever it is that she couldn't fix in the beginning of the movie, like let's say that he was just alive, or let's say it was like 5 months earlier than where this movie is actually set, where he's still out being Black Panther, but you know, every now and then when everybody leaves the room, he's like, and it's like there's like a little blood he's coughing up or something like that.
Standard movie trope. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
so
were you bitten? No, I'm fine. And like one of those.
And they need the heart-shaped herb to like regenerate that, and so then just keeps going. And then I'm sure Shuri probably still gets kidnapped because they're just like, I'm gonna send Shuri and Nadora to go get the girl because you know Chadwick's too sick to go, and then she gets captured, and all that same stuff can still happen. Still shows up, blows up Queen Ramonda, and then eventually Shuri, like on some like, I already lost mother, I lost father, I cannot lose you. Boom, boom, boom. Figures it out from the hemp, and then he has to go back through the ritual again. Because like when they were on the waterfall and he like in the power of the Black Panther was stripped away, like he had to go back through the ritual after that to get his powers back, and he went to the ancestral plane, even though he had already had the powers of the Black Panther before that, which means he had to have had some of the heart-shaped herb before that. But this time was special because it was the first time where he was going and seeing his father.
Okay, valid point.
So then now he's angry at Namor for killing his mother, and he just wants to destroy him and everything else. Everybody been on his head for vibranium after he opened his arms, and all they want is give me weapons, give me weapons, give me weapons.
That conversation would have been totally different then, wouldn't it? See, I told you.
Yeah, you thought she was better than me.
Holier than thou. And now look at you.
Mr. Noble.
If I'm here,
yeah,
tell me what's really going on in your mind. Ooh, that conversation would have been different.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I will absolutely accept that. I had completely forgotten about having the powers of the Black Panther stripped away for the fight, and that right there, you're right. He would having it removed. He would have to undergo the process again. So okay, yeah, that was. Well, that's why we have these conversations because.
But either way, what
bugged
they
the hell
even,
out of me.
But even what they were able to like change it to and accomplish was still just like, I don't know, man. I see it as I see just the way they were able to pivot course and still come up with a compelling story. In my opinion, was great.
I mean, a phenomenal story. Like I said, and that's why I keep wanting to say, like, obviously we got to give Ryan Coogler his props. Letitia Wright, like,
yeah,
my girl said, "Put the movie on my back. I got this," and did her thing. Angela Bassett, go Angela Bassett, go Angela Bassett. Lord Jesus.
Yeah. I need a Oscar nomination.
I need an Oscar win. And the funny part is, this is one of those roles where it's like normally you'd be like, man, it sucks that you had to win it for this role. Nope, I want her to win it for this.
Nah, man, if this was Meryl Streep and some like Queen of England shit, that's all you would be hearing about now.
But see that's my point. The fact that it's okay. I want the win for it being a comic book movie. I want Best Actress to come out of a comic book movie. First of all, let's get that out there. But because Angela Bassett was playing a queen in this movie and stayed in her throne, you know what I'm saying? Like she stayed in that royalty the entire time. And
she had to do an accent. They love that.
Like she had all of the elements necessary for this to be a nomination and did it so damn well.
She had the perfect scene for them to show at the Oscars.
That's
the one with her and Okoye.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason.
About crying.
Right, like, I was feeling that. I like
because like you know what the genius of that speech is. In the beginning, I was like, damn, Queen, you tripping a little bit. Like, they snuck up on her. You ain't even see what kind of dudes it was that took her. It was not some, like, regular dudes. Like, she stabbed them up, and they got up and walked away. Mm-hmm. But then when she went into her speech about, have I not given everything? I was like, okay. It was a good run, baby.
Yeah, I guess you know what? You know what? Get your box. No, she right. Get your box. Get your box. And it's funny because my wife even said, she was sitting there, and when she said that, wife was like, yeah, you need to fix your resume. I was like, damn, like, yeah, that's a wrap. She don't get to show up to work next day after that. I like the Midnight Angels, that they did switch it up a little bit, and I think we obviously get to see a little bit more from Okoye moving forward now that she's the Midnight Angel. Michaela Cole, surprise. Okay. I'm kind of liking. I'm kind of liking that character, Anika. Nakia. Whew, Lord Jesus. She was standing on that beach. I could have shed a tear right there. Yeah.
I'm like the only person on earth where Lupita Nyong'o is a beautiful woman, but I'm not attracted to her.
And you know what? You were not the only person to feel that way, because let me tell you something. Notice I said when she was standing on that beach. Let me clarify.
I know.
She had the little sub right there, and her silhouette was there on the beach. And I don't want to sound too crass, but she was looking at the water.
Yeah.
That silhouette.
And the water was looking at her.
That silhouette challenge was happening. And I was like, is that okay? You know what? I see why T'Challa got a son. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
That motherfucker came back from the blip like, yo, not wasting no time.
Hey, what's good? Like, It's like, okay, you know what? I get it. That makes sense now.
You're tired. Okay.
Now, all in all, man,
shortly.
It was super balanced, despite the length, and despite having so much content that you literally could have just taken out. They did a really good job of balancing everything in a way that kept you engaged. It's almost like they knew they had to show you this scene with Ross. So here's a really banging ass scene to go with it.
Right.
Oh, we got it. We got to talk about this little part over here. So here's a cool ass fight to go with it.
Yeah.
And somebody had pointed out, something that I hadn't really thought about before, but when they mentioned it, I was kind of like, yeah, I can see how that would be. That final fight between Shuri and Namor, because they kept doing the jump cuts between everybody on the boat and the one-on-one fight, it took away a little bit of the impact from the one-on-one fight. Because while that was already enough of a challenging fight, not being able to watch it all the way through kind of, I won't say lessen the impact because it was still quite important. But it was like, if we could have just focused on that instead of having those back and forths.
But I think, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
The comment was that it would have had the weight of the gravity of that battle would have been better placed.
I'm going to disagree a little bit, only because I think that the reason why they kept showing they were cutting back and forth was to show how the rage of the two individual people in that fight were affecting their entire nations. And so it was like, if this is like Captain Marvel and it's really just a story of like a woman who is learning who she really is and standing in her full power, right?
Right.
The scene at the end of Captain Marvel with Jude Law makes sense, where it's just like a one-on-one thing between them two, because that's what she's been trying to overcome. But I think like if you go back to M'Baku's advice when they're talking, right? He's kind of just like,
we don't want to be at war with them forever.
Yeah. He's basically like, if you do this, if this goes down this way, this will never end and it will consume like everything. And so it's like, okay, like, yeah, you're getting what you want in this one battle and y'all are going back and forth and you doing work and you blew him up and he stabbed you. But like cutting back and seeing like, okay, this is not like everybody is fighting like this. It's not just the leaders. It's like everybody is fighting to the death because everybody is pledged to serve the two people here. But if these two people here come to an agreement, then all the fighting stops. And I think that message gets a little bit more lost if it's like them just fighting. You don't get that visual element of this is what is going to inspire her like to stop fighting, because she knows that like it will happen. It'll go on forever and ever and ever. And it's not, even if she wins, even if she kills him, it's not going to bring what she really is looking for.
Okay. That's a valid point. That makes a lot of sense.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, if people don't pick up on that, you then have to talk about how well it actually worked. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. And it's like you were saying earlier with they didn't really have to go into all the floating all the way down to his kingdom. But part of that was when she had him beat, she was thinking about her people and his people and realizing, hey, neither of us really want this to continue forever.
Yeah, it's like we're the same.
So it's like
same things.
So it was like that other needed to happen so that she could have that realization.
Facts.
Now, interesting point. Like when he had, I thought it was interesting. The entire movie, there's like, we have to kill the scientists. We have to kill the scientists. When clearly he really didn't care to kill the scientists. Like that was never really a thing. He just needed that excuse to get to Wakanda so that he could like offer the bargaining chip. As he's the king of Talakan, when he has the princess in his midst, you got to still, that's royalty. You can't just treat royalty any kind of way. So you still have to like feed them properly and, honored guest kind of situation. Even though she kidnapped, you have to treat the princess with a certain level of respect. And it's like, that's one of those really odd kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Classical, old-timey kind of, like she didn't call parlay or anything, etiquette. But yeah, like it's proper war etiquette.
No, she did though. She was like, she said, I will come with you if you promise not to harm her.
And then she's like, take me to your king, like take me to Namor or whatnot. But the whole like, they're in the cave and it's like, here's the expensive gown that you have to wear. And he, come in here, he wants to bring you to dinner. And then he's like, oh, we're going to go on this tour of my village. And you know what I'm saying? It's like that moment right there where it's like, yeah, it's kind of long in the tooth, but it's also like, these people are royalty. You know what I'm saying? He's like king of this nation. She's the princess of that nation. One is an advanced civilization and one is kind of like a very, very, very traditional civilization, but they're still royalty. And I just thought that was a cute little element to have them, because it almost seemed like he was going to be like, you know what, we should get married. And if we get married, you know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a date.
And of course, like, since, I just watched like a whole season of House of Dragon. I'm like, is you trying to get betrothed? Like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? You about to promise your firstborn to her firstborn. What's going to happen here? What are those?
The one thing I found hilarious about all that with, like, he was talking about how, I could take you to our main home, but the pressures would crush you and like break all your bones and like basically pop you like a balloon, or you could just wear a suit.
Yeah. I have a couple of those. Like, oh wait, he got a couple of. Oh, that's the suit you stole from the people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? Like one, as we talk about Namor, I was really surprised how well his little winged feet worked on screen.
Yeah.
I didn't think, I thought his flying was gonna look real stupid. I'm not even gonna lie. But like the way they kind of had my man, he was like skating in the air because he would like go and like skid and turn real quick and like was hella agile.
It looked a little bit like the little platform things from Miss Marvel that she was using to like move around. It kind of felt a little bit like that. See, they be beta testing this stuff in the shows and then perfecting it for the movies.
See, I kind of got Percy Jackson vibes from that because of the winged shoes.
Yeah.
But that's a difficult like physical movement to pull off. Because like even in the comics, you don't really see, like when you see Namor, he's like flying, but it's like a still image. So you don't necessarily see like
you don't
him
see
like
those
skating through the air and like how he actually is going to fly. How does it make sense? If his wings are in his ankles, then like he got to fly a certain way.
Right, exactly. You know what? The same way, and somebody somewhere like has sat down and like thought about this shit, because like when you see Iron Man flying his suit for the first time, and he has to get the stabilizers, and he's kind of like bouncing all over the place, and then he finally like does like the weird Iron Man pose where he's like, all stiff and arms straight down, because that's where he stops wobbling around.
It's the penguin dance from Mary Poppins.
Exactly. And it's not until he gets into that pose that he can stabilize himself. And then damn near every time you see him fly after that, that's what it is. Feet straight, arms up, and the thrusters are going straight out. It's not until he starts to improve the suits and changes different things on the suits and whatnot that his flight pattern becomes different. When we see Riri fly, she does the same thing. Like, she's got the jets on, because the jets are on her boots, and she's got the stabilizers on the arms. That's where it is. He has no stabilizers. So he's either moving forward and flying, or he's standing straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no like flying to the side, because he can't do that. And so I have to say, like, it's crazy.
Well, he was changing direction in the air, but he was changing direction in the air like you do on the ground. It was like he would plant the foot, spin,
boom. It looked like my man was skating in the sky, and it was so dope. And it's crazy because it was like, it didn't look CGI-ish.
Yeah.
That shit looked
real
good.
Yeah.
I was like, they got him up there on a hella good harness, because he is spinning around. Like, they got really good with this wire work. And that's why I was just, honestly, I gotta say, I didn't think, even when he had his little foot wrapped at the end because she like ripped the feathers off the wing, it's just that little attention to detail that Marvel be doing that just really keeps them on top. And that's why our expectations is so high with their movies.
Yeah.
But they've been doing so many movies at this point that, like, you know what I'm saying? I wonder how many times Kevin Feige gets to sit and watch this movie and be like, what's wrong with his foot? Like, shouldn't he, is that going to hit? You know what I'm saying? Like, for somebody to be like, oh, we should put a bandage around his ankle. He can't fly for a little bit.
Oh, they 100%. That's like somebody's job.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know they have like continuity people, because that's why, like, we can like, oh my God, there was a couple of games.
Put it like this. You don't want Kevin Feige to be the one to tell you that he needs something on his ankle. It's a lot of people between that production person all the way up to the top. You do not want, if it comes from Kevin Feige, that means a lot of people missed it, and a lot of people are going to be in trouble.
Would you notice the last time you saw him, you didn't see his feet?
Well, no, that was
he was standing on a little thing,
right, and he had that little bandage around his leg,
right,
just like right there at his foot. So I don't know, man. Like, everything about it, I will probably make it back to the theater again to go see this movie again, despite the runtime. Going into it knowing that the runtime this time, and like knowing where it's long, I can probably sit through it a little better. Plus, I'll be looking more for things I might have missed and that sort of thing. I'll be a little bit more emotionally prepared and won't choke up as much in the movie, or at least I hope not. But this is without a doubt one of the best movies I've seen. Not just Marvel movies, not just comic book movies, but honestly, one of the best movies because of the subject matter, what they have to deal with, the story they have to tell, and the weight of everything. It was just flawless performances all around to get us collectively where we need to be, not only in the MCU, but as movie viewers. And, you know, it's the impact of the actor Chadwick Boseman. It's got a different effect on a lot of people. And, you know, as you had mentioned earlier, like, I didn't know him personally, so my connection might be different from the next person. But everything you've ever read about him, every article that's ever been put out, you've not heard of a single scandal. You've not heard of a single bad thing come out at all. And it is impressive. And I think this was a very fitting tribute to the actor, to the character, and to the story itself. I look forward to seeing it again. And yeah, we not go get heavy right here, because
but I did want to say one thing kind of on that note too. So, you know, I think like it's like a lot of like, you know, obviously comics, Marvel versus DC, Disney versus Warner Bros., etc. But I think that like Marvel showed even with this that they understand how what they're doing impacts the world. And it's not just about money, because this movie was gonna make money regardless, because every black person was gonna go see it one time at least, you know. But you got that much pressure where you got a movie where everybody's like, this is going to make a bunch of money because every black person is gonna go see it. We could technically make anything we wanted. We don't have to. We technically don't have to take the time to like. We could honor Chadwick just with the like opening scroll, but then like we moving forward, we recasting. We need a Black Panther. We need to tell this story. We don't have time to go back and rewrite scripts. We don't have time to go back and redo stories. We don't have time to go back and go through. It's like
they could have put out some
mid. They could have put out some bullshit that was like, we're moving on, we're moving forward. It's just a business. But I think that they really were able to sit down and say, you know, our talent needs this. Like the people who are making this movie need this. The fans need this. And so we are going to get out of the way. And as long as it has these things in it, like we're going to get out of the way.
We need to set up for Thunderbolts. We need to set up for Ironheart. Like, and it's literally, it felt like a couple of check boxes, and past that, do what you want to do.
It felt like that stuff was already in the movie.
And that's my point. It was just like the fact that he took that 30 minutes, they were like, this 30 minutes has to be there.
Yeah.
And those scenes were already done.
Yeah.
Those scenes got cut, edited, and sprinkled back in.
Yeah. But I think it's just like a testament to like, just like the self-awareness that Marvel has, I think, as a brand, and the Marvel Studios especially has as a brand, just understanding how like I mean, even looking at just like how much backlash and hate they get on like all the women-led properties that they make. And you know what they said? We're gonna keep making them.
And we're gonna make one
you can keep crying. Yeah. Yeah. We heard you talking. Like that Jamie Foxx joke where he was like, he used to tell a Mike Tyson joke, and Mike was like famous for like, if the joke wasn't funny, he was gonna sock you.
Right.
He's like, I heard you talking. I heard you talking shit. But yeah, I think that's kind of one of the biggest things. It's like this is such a business oriented thing. They could have recast. They could have did the Star Wars thing where they just put his face on somebody else and tried to do the whole movie like that. And I'll tell you right now, black people, we don't play that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let the dead rest.
You're like, ooh, that don't sit right with my spirit. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if Carrie Fisher and them cool with it, cool. But nah, I ain't trying to see Chadwick like that. So I mean, kudos to them as well, because and that's one of those things where it's like we're talking about ushering a new era of DC. I think these are the kinds of things that they should pay attention to, where it's like they're doing things and they're like, Marvel's like, yeah, they're exploiting us as fans, but they're looking after us in some ways as well. And they're looking after their characters, they're looking after their entity. And you know, the better you can do that, the better stuff that you're going to put out, and you're going to be able to connect with your fans in a much different way than if you're just like, we got to get a Justice League movie made. Like, you rush to do that, and now you're stuck with like a Flash who like can't even put the damn movie out because he can't sit still for like 3 months for you to do like promo and release.
Yeah.
So Wakanda forever.
We'll hit
R.I.P.
DC another day.
Chadwick.
Yeah. Dave, any final thoughts?
It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Hit the feels a lot, but I appreciated how they handled everything.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the overall tone, to be able to take subject matter that was that heavy and guide us through it, let us feel pain when we needed to feel pain, but also able to pick us up and move us forward at those times that we needed to still move forward. They did it tastefully, did it with a lot of respect, and I was very impressed with the overall presentation. I look forward to all of these new properties and things that are going to be coming as a result of that. It's a nice little hoodie you got there, buddy.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Nice little hoodie. Look at that. Look at that. That's what's that say? Does that say Grown Geeks on it?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I actually wore this when I went to the movie today.
Hey. I'll be looking for those new members here shortly thereafter. We get one with just a big QR code on it. That's all it's going to be, is a QR code. I got to figure out a way to I got a really good design to put on some jerseys. So I got to find a way to get some jerseys out of that and boom, slap that on. But no, I mean, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I think everyone who is familiar with the character and the story and MCU in general is going to enjoy it. And should probably go check it out. And you know what's interesting? I haven't heard anything about the numbers yet, and I think that is a good thing. Like it just always feels like it's an automatic, like, oh, it's Monday, it's Tuesday.
It's the highest grossing movie, and it's the highest November release.
Highest November release? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Enjoy the movie for the movie. Let all that other stuff be on the side. The way they handled the progression, and like I said, really moving us through the things that we had to be moved through in order to continue the MCU, I think they did a fantastic job. Give it a 9 because, again, in 30 minutes, they could have went somewhere. But since we had to have it in 30 minutes, you know, like you said, now we don't waste an episode in the first episode of Ironheart.
Right.
So
but
we can hop right
at
in.
the same time, they could have done one of the, what are they? If you go on Disney Plus, they've got all these little shorts. Yeah.
It's one of those weird things. Like if you did not watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, it did not matter who the Countess was.
Right.
You knew that she was somebody important. You knew that, you know what I'm saying,
and
her and Everett Ross were a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she had that post-credit scene when she's like talking with Yelena. But if you missed all of that other buildup she had, and this was like the first time you're seeing her, you still got the weight of who she was. You know, at some point she's like, yes, well, you know, deputy director CIA, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, okay, so she's somebody important. Oh, she used to be married to that dude? Oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like you get enough of what you need to move. She'll be a big deal again later on. So we have to spend a whole lot of time introducing and explaining this go round. That I was cool with. And being and like moving through stuff like that, it was like plot point, say what you got to say. Here's a little prep. It was funny to watch a bunch of live action Easter eggs. Because normally these would be things that like would be in the background, planting those seeds. But this time those seeds had lines. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of threw me off, because it's like you say it and it's building up to something, but we're not going to develop it here. We're just going to talk about it, but not going to do anything. Just mention it. It's like, don't do that. But that's all I got. That's go see the movie if you haven't seen it already. This was our spoiler review. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I could go on and on. I mean, honestly, there's a whole lot of other parts, because Okoye could get a whole little section. M'Baka could get his own little section. The Jabari tribe, there was some stuff there. Dominique Thorne, I could talk a little bit more about her. Riri Williams. So check out the movie. It's a fantastic movie. Rated pretty high across the board here tonight. We had 2 9s, had an 8.5. Because the Irish judges, they don't like nothing.
And that's messed up.
No, but I mean, honestly, you had valid reasons, and I can't, because honestly, I feel like your reason and my reason is the same. I think I just might have liked the movie a little bit more, because you know what? I'll keep talking. It's a great movie. Yeah. Go see it. You
already over time, brother.
I know. We will. Why do you think I'm like rushing at this point? Because I'm being summoned. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click the notification bell so you can find out every time we're on. If you have not done so already, make sure you subscribe. Only takes a second, and it helps us out a whole lot. You can click the QR code there. That'll take you to everywhere you can find us on social media. And for Jeffrey, for David, I'm Sam. We are Grown A Geeks, and we appreciate you being here. Y'all have a great night. Peace.